they were asking me last night at dinner, how many salons do we want to have, total in the future at some point. And my answer is, as long as we can continue to be the best salon, and I would always keep owning the company and keep on growing, But if somebody ever else became the best salon, then I wouldn't want to own these anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I only want to own the best salon and have the best people, have the best partners, that I could have. Like, I don't want to accept anything less than that. All right, let's get it rolling. How many people here consider their salon a prestigious salon or prestige brand? How many people in here would like for it to be? But if I told you I had a few systems in place to help you become a more prestige salon, prestigious brand, would you like to hear more about it? The definition of prestige is when when the value is added beyond the product, which justifies a high price. So today I have 7 words I could just sum up my whole speech about how to become prestige or how to become a busy hairdresser. And the 7 words is, it's not about you, it's about them. So every day when we go to work, we have one job and one job only. What would you think that our job would be as a salon owner or a hairdresser or actually anything that you do in life? So our job is, every day is about creating value. It's about because people think that time is what? Money. Who believes that time? Who believes that? So people think time is money, but time is not money. Actually, value is money. So when people come into the salon, they exchange their money for our energy. So more energy that we give our client, the more money, more value. So in Japan, what is the most expensive haircut that you know of in Tokyo? $250. What do you think? What is the cheapest haircut you can get in Tokyo? $1. So what's the difference between a $10 haircut and a $250? Because if time is money, I mean, it takes the same amount of time to do a $10 haircut as a $250. Is anybody in here getting $250 for a haircut? What would you have to do? What do you think you would have to do?
有名にならないといけないです。
Maybe you have to be famous.
You have to be famous? How do you become
じゃあ
famous?
その有名になるにはどうすればいいと思いますか？
大会で優勝したりとか、
Maybe win a competition.
メディアに
like
露出したりとか、メディアにいっぱい出たりとか。
Maybe to be on the media.
Yeah, maybe.
Magazine.
But there's people who are charging a lot of money for haircuts in the United States who aren't famous. And so what you've got to do, you've got to create value. So you got to be doing something that no one else is doing around you. Yeah. So you got to ask yourself, what am I doing that's going to bring this customer back? What am I doing to bring this customer back? What am I doing differently that they can't get with someone else? What am I doing that I'm giving them that they can't get anywhere else? It's really, at the end of the day, it's about supply and demand. The more people want you because you're doing something different, the more you can charge. So I'm going to tell a little bit about how we got started. So I started doing hairdressing in 1976, and so I've been doing hair for 37 years. And we opened Van Michael Salon in 1984. And when we opened up, it was in Buckhead, but it was only 7 chairs. And when I first opened, as I was building the salon, I ran into a hairdresser, a local hairdresser, and about a 5-mile radius of where we are, there was about 1,500 salons, and there still is actually. And I remember I told them I was opening up a salon, and they said, well, that's all Buckhead needs is another hair salon. And my response was that we weren't going to be just another hair salon. So after I was open about 6 months, I realized I was on pace just to be another hair salon. I was doing the same thing that everyone else was doing in town. So I took a break. Just in the very beginning, I traveled for about 4 weeks. But anyway, I took a tour, and I went to London, to Paris, to New York, and I was studying the best salons. You know, Vidal Sassoon, Tony and Guy. And you know what I was doing was taking the best practices from different groups and bringing it back. You know, looking at their training systems, their front desk systems, their marketing, the way they did. So even we've had Van Michael. So after I was doing hair for 9 years when I opened the salon in '84. So now 30 years later, you know, we're still constantly traveling. So now, you know, we have here in Atlanta, by this October, we'll have 7 salons and about 350, 60 employees here. We were just involved in a study in the industry with 50 salons and in America, the 50 top salons, and we were the busiest salon in the country per square foot. So, you know, last year we did 260,000 transactions for clients. A little bit about the staff. We have 80 hairdressers who've been with us for 10 years, and we have 10 people with like over 20 years. So, you know, we contribute that to people coming and staying because, you know, we try to create a good work environment with benefits and education and, you know, and great customer service, that they can be as busy as they can be and charge as much as they can. So, you know, we try to hire the best people we can, surround ourselves with the best people we can, and that's the thing that I have, you know, enjoyed having a relationship with the Japanese partners is, you know, the quality of the people and the passion, you know, that they also want to be the best. You know, I just want to thank everyone for coming here because I know it's a huge commitment of finance, of money. You know, and it shows me that they have a big commitment to education and a big commitment to being the best. You know, anyhow, you know, like I said, I was very lucky growing up. I had great parents, and some of the things that they taught me as a kid is still are the things that I try to instill into the company. So like my parents taught me as a child to follow through on every promise, which we try to keep that to our staff and to all of our customers. When I was in high school, I played all different sports. I was never the star player, but I just wanted to make the team. You know, I just didn't want to get cut. So to me, looking back on that, it makes me realize how important it is to be part of a team. So my dad was a very hard worker. He basically always worked 7 days a week, and he always gave us a lot of work and a lot of chores. So I got a lot of work ethics from my dad, and one of the things that if I heard it once, I heard it a million times, and I still believe it, is that the world owes you nothing. If you want to be successful, if you want to have anything, you've got to be willing to work hard for it. And you know, I'm very blessed to still have both my parents. They're 79 years old. My mom still, to this day, is probably the most giving and serving person that I've ever met. You know, she puts everybody before herself. So I feel like for that, you know, it's like you always put your staff first, and the staff has always got to put the client first, you know. And the thing that she told me over and over and over, I can always hear, is just always do your best. And so every day, when you go to work on every client, you just got to remember to always do your best. So I don't play golf, but I do endurance mountain biking. I do like 6 and 10 hour races, like 100-mile races. And I feel like there's a correlation between endurance sports and being a hairdresser and owning a salon. You know, hairdressing is hard work. It's hard work. It's long days, and if you don't like hard work and long days, you really shouldn't be in this business. You know, it's about patience. It's about never giving up. About training. It's about being focused. And you know, just no matter what you do in life, I don't know anyone who's gotten to the top, who's become famous by some gimmick way pretty much. It's more always about hard work. I was fortunate enough a long time ago to realize that success leaves clues. I learned if you precisely duplicate the action of successful people, you can get the same quality results. I've learned that knowing and doing is two different things. So like knowledge alone, you know, is not enough. You have to take action. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know, you can just copy what successful people do. So like, so just today, things we're going to talk about in the training, you know, we're going to give you a lot of good information, but you have to take it back to your salons, to your chair, and use it and practice it. So how does a business attract new customers? Is by trying to be different. So how does a business attract new customers? By trying to be different. So tell them, ask them how many people here know the story about the purple cow. Anyhow, for the ones who haven't heard. So anyhow, so family flies to France on vacation. They rent a car. So they get outside the city, they're driving through the country and all the beautiful green pastures and the mountains, and they see all these brown cows and they're in awe. They think they're so beautiful. They get out, they take pictures of the beautiful brown cows. So they drive for another hour and they keep seeing more and more brown cows. The brown cows now, because they've seen so many of them, they become boring. And so they drive for another hour, they see more brown cows, and by this point they're not even looking anymore because the cows become, so the cows become invisible. So they drive for a couple more hours. At this point, they're not looking. But when they do finally look over, they see a pasture, bunch of brown cows, and they see one purple cow. So if you saw a purple cow, what would you say? What would you do? How do you say "holy shit" in Japanese? I knew you wouldn't do it. So you would never, ever, ever forget the purple cow. So that's what you've got to be. You've got to be the purple cow because there's so many hairdressers. So there's so many salons and so many hairdressers. It's like brown cows. We all do the same thing. So when a client leaves, they've got to remember you. They got to remember that you did something different. This is very important. We're going to get in and talk about all these things we're going to do. I just want to drive the point that you've got to do above and beyond and something different from everybody else. And that's why, you know, as we've opened up the salon, you know, we've been open for a while. Just want to back up a little bit. We've been open, and, you know, I was always trying to figure out how we could create everybody to be consistent on doing things different. That's how we started the whole training program. That's how we started New Talents. So the New Talents is a system that everybody goes through. It's a 2-year training program. And like as of today, right now, we have 70 people between assisting and New Talents in the training program, and that's what's allowing us to be able to grow at the speed of open up a couple, 2 or 3 more salons this year. I think to have the training program is very important to keep the consistency of all the systems that we're going to talk about instead of just hiring people from, you know, wherever and this and that. And also, you know, the other thing that we're very big on is the specialization of the salon. And as I was saying earlier, you know, like we have, you know, like 80 people. It's been over 10 years, and we're now, the company's 30 years old. And so what's very important to us now is not getting complacent and not getting comfortable being in the top position of thinking we're the best salon, is to always to keep training and to keep growing and improving. You know, they were asking me last night at dinner, you know, how many salons do we want to have, you know, total in the future at some point. And my answer is, as long as we can continue to be the best salon, you know, and I would always keep owning the company and keep on growing, you know. But if somebody ever else became the best salon, then I wouldn't want to own these anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I only want to own the best salon and have the best people, have the best partners, you know, that I could have. You know, like, I don't want to accept anything less than that.
話を聞いててすごい天板にこだわってるって感じなんですけど、
You're
考
focused
え方を教えてほしいんですけど、天板に対する考え方。
But what's really important about the retail product is the education to the client, you know, because you got to educate the client on how to duplicate the hairstyle. And when you do, she can duplicate it and her friends will, you know, compliment her and you'll get more clients, you know. So it's really about educating the client. But to the business itself, really the retail is, you know, the number one profit center. And I would say and the other reason, you know, the importance of retail is that it really is your profit center. You know, there's more profit in retailing than in service, you know, so it's very important to the growth of your business, you know, to capitalize on this retail business, you know, because clients are going to buy a product for their hair for somewhere. If they don't buy it from you, they'll get it somewhere else. And it took me a while to realize that I really was more in the retail business than I was in the hair business. You know, I didn't understand that for a long time. I thought I was in the hair business, but really the clients, the hairdressers bring the clients in, but then you got to capitalize and have the right environment to sell the retail.
で2つ目の質問で、そのブランドっていうかアベダを選んでるっていうか、一つだけのメーカーでやってる、同時にそのアベダだけでやってるのかどうかっていうこと。
The reason I'm using Aveda products because I met Horst, the founder of Aveda, over 30 years ago. And the first time that I met Horst, I was, you know, I liked his belief. I loved the mission to care about the world with the products that we live, you know, and I think it's very important to, you know, put healthy things in your body and on your body and to protect the earth. I love the aromas, and I've been with the company for over 30 years, and nothing's come across to me that I like better from a quality standpoint.
じゃあいいです。じゃあ次ですね、今聞いてて天板を2つ購入すると 30%、3つで 40% の、再来っていうのを聞いたんですけど、もうちょっと詳しくどういう 30% なのか。
Yeah, it's been proven, you know, that the more items, the more products that a customer takes, the higher the client retention is. You know, so an example, if they walk away with 3 products, you know, the client retention would be 40% or greater. If they walk away with 2 products, you know, it's like 20 to 30%. If they get away with 1 product, client retention could be really low as 10. And if they buy no product, I mean, usually they don't even return to the salon. And the reason why those facts are accurate is because the more products they have, the more chances, you know, like with a good shampoo, conditioner, a styling product, a hairspray, they can duplicate what you've done. So that makes them understand they have a better haircut. And if they duplicate it, you know, people comment on their hair. I always tell my hairdressers, imagine if you went to work and we took all the products away from you and you worked all day without any products. Could you do great hair? They usually say no. So I'm saying, how can you think your client can do great hair with no products when you can't, you know?
で次回予約とかすごく高いんですけど、お店の再来率って大体どれぐらい？
Yeah, our new client retention, we run about, believe it or not, this is high, even though it don't sound that high. Like the industry average is about 25 to 30%. We run about 45, you know. And once people have come twice, like then we run a really high retention, you know, like 75, 80%. You know what's really hard is it's really difficult for us to track client retention on the staff because everybody honestly is so busy. So like Brandon's booked out for 6 weeks and Natalie for 8 weeks and their clients can't get with them. So then they go to somebody else and it makes their client retention seem low, but the client's still there going to someone else. So when you get real busy, the client retention numbers get all screwed up.
次、そしたら、レセプションの話結構聞いたんですけど、その中でレセプション育成で一番気をつけている点っていう。
Well, I think the most important thing about education them is to, you know, making them realize that every single client is important and valuable, you know, and then training them properly, not putting them into the salon too quickly without mentors.
Right.
You know what I mean? But but making them realize that every client's important. You know what I mean? From every point of contact, from when they call to they walk into the door, to they're greeted, to when they meet the hairdresser, to when it's time to check out. So every part's important, but it's just making them understand the culture. You know, that we do whatever it takes to get people to come back.
そうですね、すごい教育してる、すごい教育をね、してるって聞いたんですけど、その教育の中で一番大切にしていることって何でしょうか？
I think it's very important to keep people, you know, educated and updated, but I think it's what energizes them, that keeps their passion alive, to give every client 100%. You know, if they just come in and do clients day in and day out, they lose their passion, they lose their focus, and I think this is a way to recharge their battery. I know when I go to a hair show, I come back charged up, you know, to do better, so I don't want to leave it up to them, to count on them to go out doing that. So it's just a small investment in my part. I can bring one person in for a little amount of money compared to, you know, they can charge up 200 people. So I think that's how you keep people focused and repassioned, is constant education.
撮影の写真とか雑誌の表紙とかがこう出てたのを見て、ああもうすごくそういうことにエネルギーをかけてるんだなって再確認しました。
Yes. Yeah, it's important. Like this year, for the North American Hairdresser Awards, our team is a finalist again for Salon Team of the Year. So I have them to shoot. You know, I spend $30,000 a year just on that photo shoot every year. I mean, even if we don't get in, even if we don't win, I mean, it's a good camaraderie. It's a 2 or 3 day shoot. You know, it energizes people. Like I said earlier, they got into this business for the art, really. You know, not to be business people. I mean, hopefully they'll learn that you got to combine right brain with left brain, but you know, they're creative people, so you got to keep their creative juices going, or they will leave you and go for the new hottest creative company to work for. You know, it's like, I always feel like there's a saying, your biggest expense in life is the money you don't make. So sometimes people look at when they're running their company, oh, I can't afford to do this, or I can't afford to do that, and I can't afford more front desk, or I can't afford a photo shoot, can't afford to take my team to this show. But I look at it as more, what will it cost me if I don't? You know, and if I do, how much more will I end up making because I'm doing the right thing? So the biggest expense is the money you don't make.
So this year we also have created something new, because as our company grows, we have a greater need for management and supervisors. And our Buckhead location is our flagship training salon. So anyone that's interested, we are starting the program. I'm in charge of it, and we are starting the training with me and facilitating people out as needed. We meet once a month, and we go over a series of training techniques. We have a speaker coming in this Monday, so month to month it'll be something different and new and exciting. Right now we have about 8 people, and we'll work with the existing managers as well, but our focus is...
How long is the training program?
It's really based on how quickly they learn and also the needs. It's something that's going to be ongoing as far as coaching. We started in January.
And is there already a person who
That we're working
went through the training and became a...
Well, we act Monday. I will meet a lot of them, and we are making lots of changes because of our new location that's opening this year. So I'll have an opportunity this year to work with at least 3 right away. Yeah.
Is there anything you, I don't know, when you hire a client coordinator, what you see in them, like I guess it's money, maybe? What's the point?
I will say customer service is a huge...
Yeah. Can you tell by the interviewing, doing the interviews? Like, how do you choose them to be the hire?
How we choose, we typically go off of experience is one of the points that we look for. We hire in a group interview, so we're able to talk with them beforehand and really kind of figure out if they're going to be a good fit before.
And then, oh, sorry, Tana, and then I come in at the end, and each applicant stands up and introduces themselves, and I always say, I want to know how you found out about the company, the interview. Do you have a friend that works here? Are you a client? Because oftentimes it may be a client, and of course it might not be a fit, but we want to be gracious. And then the girls watch how people interact. And so instead of just talking to them, you can see, are they listening to when they other, you know what I mean? You can see.
Also, Carly and I will make a decision, and then Susan will make a decision, and we usually always agree.
I will also say image is very important.
I believe that as a salon managers, you train the client coordinator, guest service, but do you also not train the techniques or anything, but like you train the service providers to be on, to be on their aim to sales more or like do more better
Coaching.
coaching.
We do the coaching for the service providers, but most of the training will come from Carly and I. But
to
they
the client, to
for
the
guest
service.
services.
We coach more so on benchmarks that are established for the service providers, the managers.
So how do you keep a track of the stylists numbers? Do you always see it every
We
day?
see it every day.
Yeah, what kind of like coaching do you do to the service providers if they are not really
You know,
well
it's-
in numbers?
We can give advice on how to sell, wherever they're having the issue, whether it be in selling retail or rebooking the client, we have a report that we can run, and it'll tell us if we need to coach in the area of rebooking.
Okay.
And we ask them too, like where they feel they need the most. I mean, we can see it, but
So the numbers and service challenges
Yeah.
tell us if where the service provider needs the coaching.
Right, yeah.
And then it comes back to that service wheel
Yeah.
that Tiffany was
I
teaching. So because if they're lacking somewhere, it usually is some notch on
Yeah.
that wheel. Is it because
Right.
they're not
Rebooking,
rebooking, or
yeah.
is it because they're not doing their retail?
Right, okay.
or consulting.
And they want to know how long the salon managers are working in a salon, what time to how.
Well, it's a 40-hour work week.
So how long? What time do you start work? Does it depend on the week day?
Well, it's salon hours, so the operations of the salon would depend on the manager.
Do you work all that time?
Oh,
as
yes.
well? Oh.
Yes. We try not to, but
How many stylists do you coach? Or
at my location, there's 66.
Oh, how long is your lunchtime, Susan?
Never.
How many managers do you have? You are
At
Angel.
Well, Angel's the salon manager, I'm the general manager, and then there is 4 people under us.
The coaching, the service
Yes.
providers.
Yes.
Well, and you
Coaching.
coaching managers.
Yes. And then we have a supervisor that's